Hi everyone, this is Panos here from LearnWorlds. Welcome to our webinar. Feel free to introduce yourselves in the chat box of Zoom. We'll just take a few seconds until as many people as possible log into the webinar from the beginning, and we are on our way to starting the webinar. Hope you can hear me all right. Hi, Michelle. Hi, Magnus. Hi, Steph. Welcome, everyone. Hope you're safe and sound wherever you are.
Yeah.
That's probably why no, I don't have anyone coming in.
We're getting some strange sound from somewhere.
No.
This is from Lizzie. Lizzie, if you can.
What's happening? There's some signed in on my account.
No, I think we probably shared a co-panelist link with our audience. So that is something that happened in the past. So folks, just please keep your audio and camera switched off so that we don't come into any surprises. And Lizzie, I think you can sign off from the webinar, or perhaps you can remove yourself as well.
Sure.
So, folks, I think there is a small technical problem with the Zoom. It seems that several of you are logging simultaneously as Lizzie. That's a very interesting problem to have. It seems like we cloned Lizzie. So in order to make the webinar usable, please keep your microphones and cameras shut down. Otherwise, we will start talking on top of each other. So I'll start my camera now. Yep. So it seems that a few people have logged in as panelists. So hopefully, yep, that doesn't affect most of the attendees, but it's just a few people that are getting access to the webinar. So hi everyone, this is Panos here from LearnWorlds. Welcome to today's webinar about creating personalized corporate training experiences with LearnWorlds. We are about to share with you some extremely interesting scenarios on how you can really personalize your training based on your needs. We know that one size doesn't fit all, and we see every day we come across some amazing scenarios and cases, things that you implement within LearnWorlds with your own customers. And we're here to share some of the best examples and some of the best case studies of things that you can do today. So a very brief introduction about LearnWorlds. LearnWorlds is on a mission to empower and future-proof knowledge-based businesses. We're here to help you create the best possible version of your online courses and distribute them as far and as wide as possible, either within an internal training scenario, even if you're selling coaching, if you're selling consulting, if you are selling online courses, you're training your employees, you're training your customers. All these cases can be covered by a very versatile and powerful and flexible platform like LearnWorlds. LearnWorlds is recognized as being among the top online course platforms with its versatility and being able to cover numerous e-learning cases that we see in every industry and in every scenario. So very quickly, just a brief introduction of today's speakers. I'm Panos. I'm one of the co-founders and the CEO of LearnWorlds. Today we have with us George, who is the CPO, the Chief Product Owner and co-founder of LearnWorlds. We have Elisa, our learning designer expert, and we have Brett, our customer support expert. These are the people who actually know the platform extremely deep, and they will share the actual scenarios and will get you through all the new features and how you can coordinate and use these features to create the best possible learning experience for your students. And just to go into the actual content of the presentation, for us, it was evident from the beginning that a single learning experience cannot cut it for everyone. One size does not fit all. We see an amazing variety of businesses, an amazing variety of business models, of different learning experiences that people are trying to create to support their brand, to support their business, to support their content. So we knew from the beginning that we had to provide tailored experiences, and we had to provide the versatility that allow you to customize what you want to build with Learnworlds for your students. And this obviously applies for the brand, but especially applies for the content and the learning experience that you create. So we want to help you to create training that is effective and efficient. This is extremely important for every organization in today's economy and in today's conditions. We want to help you create practical learning opportunities for your students to be able to seek and apply flexibility and help you get to specific skill attainment for your students, to help you tailor the learning experience for each learner at every stage of their journey, to maximize the learning outcomes and to speak to their needs. So this is definitely not a solution that is generic and a single suit for everyone. This is a tool that allows you to adapt at every level, and we will see these 4 stages, these 4 levels of adaptivity that can give you the tools to make experiences that are absolutely unique for your particular audience, for your particular students, and fitting to exactly what you want to do at every time and at every occasion. So let's pass the baton over to George and start to talk about the 4 layers of personalization that Learnworlds supports at this moment.
So hi there. I want to continue from where Panos ended. And I think here in Learnworlds, we invest a lot in the personalization, in the ability to adapt to the current situation of your learners, to the current knowledge of your learners, to their intentions. Because we understand in general that learning is diversified between different learners. So you may have the one content for several different learners. These learners probably want to access it, or you want them to access it in different ways. So there are different levels in the ways that someone can customize Learnworlds so as to provide such adaptive learning journeys. We have 4 layers here, and I have to say that we released also user groups 3-4 weeks ago, which we haven't included them in the presentation. We are releasing as crazy things that enable you to make such adaptations. So let's see the 4 layers that we have. The first layer is about building tailored site navigation paths. That means every school consists of site pages, pages that may be landing pages, may be pages after someone logins, or pages that you want to promote something or whatever. So all of this stuff in general, in all of the competition, is static. You are creating one page, and this page is for everyone. That not applies in Learnworlds. You can select which can see which page and which part of the page they can see. So we have a lot of flexibility there, and Elisa will showcase you exactly the features and how this can be done. So the first layer is about navigating into the site. How can we customize that? How can we personalize this experience for the visitors? The second layer is about the learning paths. And when we are talking about learning paths, we are talking about which courses someone has to follow in order to complete, for example, a training program. Can we, again, the common norm is to provide a library of all the courses. And someone has to select the courses and and explore the courses and decide by himself what he has to do. And this is not so cheap. It requires a lot of cognitive load. Someone has to know what to do. But this is not the case in language, because here you can say, okay, let's start, if you have these specific characteristics, with this course. And if you complete this course, then I will reveal to you another course, and then I will reveal to you another course. So you are able to build learning paths based on courses and based on the characteristics of the learners and the behavior. The third layer is about the learning content. When we're talking about learning content, we're talking about the text, for example, the text in ebooks. So I can show, for example, a paragraph or an image or a question just to the ones that I think they have to see that, because probably they are visual guys or they want more, they are textual guys or whatever. So this comes closer to the learning style of the learner, or can also serve different purposes. This is a kind of opportunity for you to segment the learning content based on the different languages that you have. Very interesting, very powerful. Again, this is something that you can do only in language. And at the end, we have the possibility to adapt your messages to every learner. So just as an example, a couple of weeks ago, we released some automations which are called inactivity automation. That means that if someone starts a course and he starts a very specific date, after 14 days, where he probably hasn't again visited the school or the course, you can send him an email and motivate him and drive him to say, come on, continue. You can do that. You can get a better job. You can achieve something better. So these are the four layers, which of course are being combined with the different features that we have in the platform. So Elisa, would you like to demonstrate these features so as to start building scenarios immediately after?
Yep, sure. So here is just a list of the tools, but Panos, if you let me share, I prefer much rather to show you straight from the platform. So just give me a second to share my screen and show you just that. All right, so hopefully you can see this. So there's a lot of tools, so I'm going to be brief, but still show you all of them. So the first one is the qualification form. So this is a form that it's optional. You don't have to have it on, but you can use it if you wish to gather information about the users. Now, that information could be anything that you'd like to just get to know about them. So the qualification form is here, you can enable it. And of course, you can edit it out. It's a powerful form builder. You can edit it out and just ask the information that you require from the user. So that one is the first tool. Coming up, we have...
Elisa?
Yes.
Sorry for interrupting. Qualification form is a form that appears only once, immediately after someone registers in the school. So you have the ability to qualify the lead, to qualify the one that just signed up on your school.
Yes, exactly that. It shows only once, right when they get into the school the first time. So the next tool right here is the custom sign-up fields. Now, the platform does come with some templates for the sign-up or even the sign-in form, but what if you require very specific information? Perhaps maybe, I don't know, you want an address or something even more customized, right? So LearnRules actually allows you to do that. So you can create custom sign-up fields and just get the information you need from the sign-up process.
So you do have custom,
go ahead.
You can have a custom sign-up form, and then this can be followed by a custom qualification form. So a lot of flexibility there on how to adjust the onboarding flow of your learners.
Yep. Another way to adjust and customize their journey would be through the after login page or the general site navigation. So from this menu, you get to decide what the school's main pages are and how the users are going to navigate. But more specifically, you can decide what the after login page is going to be, but this time based on the user's tag. And we're going to be using tags heavily on this session. You're going to see more as we go. But here, you can either set default landing page or set another page for the landing page, or based on the user's tag, you can select to take them and to show a specific page. So if I'm a user that I'm attributed with a specific tag, let's say new user, I will see and land on a different after login page than other users. That's what this would do.
So based on the sign up form or the qualification form, you can tag your users. And that means that you are able to show different things immediately after registration. So if you know that someone comes from one school, or if you know that someone has these specific skills for which you qualified, or he has some specific intentions, then you can land him in a different after login page based on the tags that were assigned according to the answers of the user.
Yep. And speaking of tags, the next tool I'm going to be showing is actually the tag manager. So this is a concentrated place into your admin dashboard where you could either create a tag from here, or you can monitor where tags are being used. Tags can really be used anywhere, not only on the after login pages. They can be used in visibility settings, which we're going to see later on, in automations, and really a lot more. You can use them almost everywhere. Now, yeah.
Tags are a common norm in all CRMs. Yeah. So it's a way to segment and categorize your users fast, and then to do a lot of action based on these tags. So it's a very common tool, which is very powerful for everyone that does a kind of CRM functions.
Yeah. And another way to segment users would be user groups. And George mentioned that briefly earlier. So what is this? Let's say that you have to train perhaps a specific team in your company. It could be, I don't know, perhaps a support team, right? Maybe you want to add all these users into a group, so the support team group. And then perhaps automatically set it so that they are enrolled into the courses that their curriculum will have, right? So you can use user groups to select and to treat a group of users as one entity.
You can add automation rules. You see, everyone that has this tag, for example, or who answers that question, automatically belongs to that group. That also means that it has its own landing page, its own courses, and its own administrator, and so on. So again, it's a very fast way of customizing and treating different segments with a different way.
Yeah, exactly. The next tool is the visibility option. Maybe I have it wrong here. Oh, it's the automation, sorry. So the automations, we're going to see that also later on. So this is just a way for you to activate specific actions based on triggers that you have set. So for instance, when a user is tagged with a specific tag, perhaps you want to send them an email, or if they have been inactive for X amount of days, then perhaps you want to reach out, right? And things of this nature. But we're going to see that extensively going further into the session. The next tool is the visibility option. Now, that is available across the platform, not only in the page that I have opened up over here, but even in smaller segments and items. So what is that? So for instance, right here, I have a page, and this is a section of a page. And right here, I can decide who this is visible to. So you'll see that there is a few options between all users, logged out, logged in users, tagged users, or even nobody. And I even have visibility based on the device they are logged in from. So what does this mean? This means that perhaps you have the same page for everyone. However, they do not all experience it the same. So based on if they are into any of these categories, they're going to see a different layout of the page, let's say, right? According to where you applied the visibility settings. Next up, we have the sign up approval. So what is this? If you don't want everybody to sign up in the school straight up, you can enable this. So this way, people will have to actually send out a sign up request. You as an admin would have to go over here into your requests and either approve it or not. And if you do that, they're going to see a screen if they got approved or not. Based off of this. Again, this of course is optional. So if you want them to either pass through a screening process, you want to somehow have a better control over who signs up, then you can enable sign up requests. Next up, we have our very powerful assessment builder. So this allows you to add a ton of different type of questions. It could be either open-ended questions, closed-ended questions, questions like true or false, multiple choice, matching, reordering, and so on. So there's a great amount of questions you can add. Besides the assessment builder, you'll also find our amazing and very powerful ebook builder. It allows you to add almost anything that you would add into a regular page, either that being a simple text, columns, emphasis blocks. You can add videos, images. It's very easy to edit out. You can simply even just drag and drop things or move with your mouse when you're doing things without even having to lift your hands. So extremely useful as well. Next up, right here, we have some more settings into the courses. So if you want to have specific rules for the navigation in the course, oh, sorry, this is for the emails. If you want to have custom emails for each course, that can also be set up. Now, a Learn Notes Academy comes packed with generic emails that you can send out, right? So as soon as somebody perhaps enrolls into the course, they're going to get an email welcoming them into the course. However, if you wish, you can even further personalize that, and you can send custom emails based on that specific course. So that's what you can do from here. And staying on the course topic, you can also customize the navigation in the course. So how will users be able to navigate through the course's activities? So let's say that perhaps we have 10 activities. Am I able to just jump from the first one to the fifth one just like that freely? Or do I have to complete the one I'm on in order to move forward? Or do you just want them to complete a specific one that perhaps is very important, right? So that's exactly what you decide from here. So we have free navigation, sequential, and navigation with prerequisites. Now, another question that may arise is how does the system actually identify that the user has completed that specific activity in order to move forward, right? Now, we have put some generic completion rules in place, but obviously you can customize this according to your need and according to this course's specific needs. So you can either have generic completion rules or customized completion rules for a specific activity on this course. And finally, a final last tool is the push notification. So of course, not only can you reach your users via email or even with the community if you're using that, but you can also reach them via push notification. And I would say that's perhaps the most effective way because let's face it, these days we're all kind of on our phones all the time. So sometimes push notifications are even more direct. So if you choose to have a mobile app, then you can also make use of the push notifications. And I think that's it for me for the tool. So let me stop sharing so we can move forward with the slides.
So let's go back to the, let's start now talking about the actual usage scenarios. Just give me a moment to start sharing. Back to the slides. Lots of things happening here. Just give me a moment to make sure that we are on the right screen. Here we are. So the first layer of personalization, we talked about creating navigational paths within the school, being able to control who goes where, what they see, and how we guide them within the online school, so that we expose them to the right signals. So, Brett.
Sure. Thanks, Panos, for the introduction there. If you want to just move into the first scenario, that'd be great. So I'm going to be taking you through a couple of the scenarios utilizing some of the tools that we just saw Eliza go through. So the first scenario we want to take a look at is actually tailoring your after login pages based off of your users' wants and needs, right? So many online schools kind of cater to a large, diverse audience, and they have, these users have different needs, and we don't want to let those users get lost in a sea of irrelevant messaging, right? In different course offerings that just don't really apply to them. So this can really be solved by actually providing users with pages that specifically fit their interests. So you can see down here at the bottom of the page, we listed out the tools that are actually involved in this. So the multiple after login pages, the site navigation, and the tags for the user groups. So I'm going to actually take you through how you can actually do this in the system. Panos, if you want to move to the next slide. So the first thing we need to actually do is navigate into our site builder and head over to the sign in, sign up settings. It's here that we're actually going to create a number of different custom fields for our users. So a nice little drop down. It might, in this case, if we were looking at a programming language school, we might be asking users what they're interested in learning about, like front end, back end, or full stack, development. So you can see here, we've got those choices available. We've checked the little box down in the corner that says whatever these users input as they sign up, I want to go ahead and add a tag to that user's profile. So there's the usage of tags. Panels, if you want to go to the next one. And the next thing we need to take a look at is actually still in the site builder. We're going to head over to site navigation. Now, site navigation allows us to set up what page in our school is going to be our after login page or our landing pages once users sign in. And you can see we have an option, it's a fourth option here, that allows users to land on a different page based on a tag that has been assigned to them. So in this case, we have our back end, our front end, and our full stack tags, and we have different pages set up for each of those users. Okay, panels? The result of this is actually going to be 3 separate pages that cater to the needs of each of those users. So just by allowing them to select that at the beginning, we're now having landing pages that will cater specifically to the courses that they want, to the needs that they have, to the pricing that they might be interested in, to the certifications they might be interested in. So we've got 3 heavily targeted pages created here. Okay, on to the next scenario.
Just before we move on, Brett,
Sure.
to mention that this is probably the most powerful scenario of adaptation. This allows you to have multiple platforms within that one platform. So whether it's different pricing plans, whether it's different departments within your organization, and you want to organize your courses, people at different levels or different skills, or even extended enterprise training, because the modern organization needs to be constantly educating and talking to every one of their stakeholders, whether it's internal users, whether it's customers, whether it's partners, whether it's resellers, whether it's affiliates, anything you have. Now, within a single platform, you can personalize and create customized paths with the right courses, with the right messaging, with the right pricing, with the right targeting, with whatever you want to create. This is an extremely powerful scenario. So back to you.
So sometimes segmentation and personalization isn't going to be enough, all right? In our first scenario, we kind of based our pages off of the user's specified intentions, right? Scenario 2, we're actually going to take the buying patterns of the user and decide which promotional offers to offer them and to target them with, because buying a course is really the best indication of a user's interest. So you can see here, we'll be using user automations, we'll be using visibility, we'll be using tagging, and a couple of,
Sorry, lost it.
You're really challenging me here.
I'm sorry for that. There's lots
okay.
of things happening at the same moment, so this is kind of embarrassing. But
hey, it happens. You know, webinars are no fun.
Let me see where it went. This is what happens when you have multiple screens working on multiple screens. So give me a moment to try to reshare the proper screen here. Sorry for that.
Brett, would you like to share the screen?
I can do that if you give me a second. I do have the PowerPoint, so just give me 1 second and I can share. Let's see.
Let's see who will find it first.
Share screen. I think I might have you beat here, panelists, unless you pull it up in the next second. Can everyone see that? I think so.
Yeah, we can see it.
Excellent.
Thanks,
All right, so what we're looking at here in scenario 2 is how we can basically target users with specific promotions, right? So if we were to move on to the next slide here, you can see that the first place that we're going to want to go is actually we're going to want to build an automation. So we're using that automation tool to create an automation that will add a tag based off of the user's purchase. Okay, so if they buy a course on, let's say, JavaScript fundamentals or front end development, or even complete a course in this area, we're going to go ahead and add a tag. So there's the second part, second tool that we've utilized. In the next area, we're going to go into marketing. We're going to create a promotion that's specific to these users. So we're going to give them 50% off of a specific product. So maybe we are launching a new course on JavaScript. Maybe we have advanced JavaScript classes that we want to offer. So we'll create a promotion. And then we'll actually go into that landing page that we talked about at the beginning. And we're going to create a section that showcases that promotion. Where the difference is we're going to actually tweak the visibility of this section to only show to users with a specific tag. So in the case that the user purchased that JavaScript course and we've added that tag, this section will only appear to that user. So next time that user logs into the platform and goes to look at their courses, at the very top, they're going to see a nice little 50% off their next purchase in the for our advanced JavaScript course. So that's another really powerful way to use all these tools kind of together. In scenario 3, we are going to talk about how we can actually control how users can sign up and register to our platform. Sometimes we work within environments that we want to restrict specific users. Maybe we're doing a leadership course and we want to make sure that the users that apply to our courses have some type of leadership experience or have some type of management experience. And so what we're going to actually use to do this is the sign up approval form and qualification questions. Okay. So the first thing we do is we head into our user area of the platform. We go to sign up approval and we flip that switch and we turn that on. Okay. Now that that is on, what we're going to do is head over to our qualification form. Whoops. I can just talk to you about it here. We'll head over to our qualification form and we're going to create a qualification form that asks specific questions. Okay, we want to know how long you've been working for. We want to know your management experience. We want to know who you are. Maybe we have questions about what organizations they've worked in the past. And we turn that qualification form on. We check this little box here. And now when a user signs up, we actually have the ability to approve or reject that user based off of the information they gave us in that qualification form. So for those of the people that do apply to our school, they are going to see a screen that lets them know, hey, we've gotten your registration, but we need to approve that registration before you're able to move on. Now, there are going to be an unlucky few that maybe get rejected. They don't have the experience that you're looking for. And if that's the case, you can also design a rejection screen. It might have information about why they were rejected, right? These are what we're looking for in candidates. I'm sorry you didn't meet those requirements. You can always reapply to us by clicking here, right? So you can actually create that experience of them getting another chance, maybe later on down the line. In scenario number 4, we're going to be using things like the custom sign-up field, tags and user groups. We're going to use automations and we're going to use site navigations. Now, this gets a little bit more advanced. We're actually going to be creating dynamic learning paths based off of the experience of our users. So what we're going to be doing here is starting with, again, that sign-up form. We're going to create a drop-down list that basically asks our users, what is the level of experience that you have in this particular area, right? So 1 through 7, I'm going to make a selection here when I sign up. Again, we're going to mark that as a tag. It will tag the user based off of their answer. And then we are going to head over to our site navigation area again. This time, we're going to create a couple different landing pages based off of the experience of that user, right? So if they're a beginner, we're going to drop them on our beginners page. If they're advanced, we're going to drop them on the advanced page. But here's where it gets a little bit more complicated because users learn. They might start as a beginner. That does not necessarily mean that they're going to be a beginner for the rest of their life. So in order for us to show them the proper courses and to show them the proper material that they need to see, we need to advance our system. So how do we do that? Through automation. When a user completes a course or earns a certificate, we can have an automation that will remove the old tag and add the new tag, letting us know that user is no longer a beginner. They're now an intermediate. And now when that user logs into their after login page, they're going to have a whole new list of courses there available for them based off their experience that they've had. And now I'm going to actually pass the ball on. Panos, do you have this back up or should I continue to?
No, better not, because currently I'm not the host of the presentation. So if you can continue sharing.
I can continue. Okay. And
Thanks,
I think,
thanks, Brett.
who's up?
That's me.
Okay.
So I'm going to be talking to you guys about layer 2, that is educate with custom learning journeys. And I think we can also move on to the next slide. So a lot of times we need to design custom learning paths. That means that we want someone to follow a very specific course. So they begin with a very specific course and then they follow on another very specific course, right? So have a specific course path. How can we do that? So let's take a look at the next slide. So right here, we have a total of 3 courses, right? So we want for them to start with a cybersecurity first, and then go on to cybersecurity for IoT, ethical hacking, and so on in that order. So how can we achieve that, right? So the way to do this is that the first course has to be public and paid, and then we can set the rest of them private. So the user will only be able to see the first one. And only when they finish and complete that one, the next ones are going to unlock. So if you can move to the next slide, we can see how that is achievable. So we can do this with the help of automations. So what will the trigger be? The trigger will be when the user completes the first course, the one that is public. So you can see it over here, cybersecurity first step. So when the user completes that one, then the trigger will be that we will enroll them into the second course, so the medium one, which was private before, right? And the same goes for the next course. So as soon as they finish up the second course, then they will be automatically enrolled into the third course, right? So essentially, you are creating a prerequisite list of courses. So in order for them to move forward to the second or the third, they would have to have complete the first course beforehand. So that's a way to do it with the automations. Let's take a look at another scenario. So scenario 6, every employee is a unique path. What does that mean? So right here, when we're talking about internal training, perhaps sometimes of the employees, we're talking about learners that have to complete a specific course, right? Earlier, I think I mentioned the support team. Let's say that you're training your support team. That means that, you know, management has decided on a specific list of courses that we want them to be enrolled in. So that means that we don't have an open academy where they just pick their own course, but there's a specific one that they should follow a specific course. So that means that when the user signs up, they could be automatically enrolled into that course. So let's see how we can do that in the next slide. So the way to do that would be to go over to our users and import them. And when we import them, we can also assign a tag to those users. So we could tag them something like, you know, the support team. Let's move over to the next slide. Now, based onto the tag, so when that tag is added, perhaps we could name them HR department, support department, whoever the user is going to be. We can set an automation to enroll them into the specific course that we are training them for. In this case, it's HR 101. So that's one way to do that. Let's move over to the next one. So scenario number 5 is to encourage continuous learning process after negative exam results. What does that mean? So let's say that perhaps you had an assessment, right? And for some reason that user didn't do as well, you know, they responded very poorly and they failed the actual assessment, right? So that would be a great way for you to step in and actually try to find ways to encourage the user to, you know, continue. Even if you failed this time, perhaps you'll do better next time, and so on. So let's take a look at the next slide to see how we can achieve that. So we have an automation for that where we can re-encourage students when they fail an assessment. So what do we need to set up? The trigger is after an assessment is submitted. You need to specify which assessment. And you can write in the email only if, so there's a condition that you can set, the assessment has failed. So if the user has failed in this specific assessment, then we can compile a nice email, you know, just supporting them to move forward, perhaps even offering some more information if you feel like there was lack of that and that's why they answered poorly. In any case, you know, you have a way to determine who failed and go back and encourage them to move forward and carry on. In the next scenario, we are going to be seeing the exact opposite. So this time, you want to encourage continuous learning after somebody actually passed the exam. You know, they did great, they were studying what they were supposed to, and they actually passed the exam. You can move over to the next slide. And right here, again, we are seeing an automation, but the main difference right here in the condition is that the assessment has been passed. So this is a great chance for you to either congratulate them, you know, to acknowledge their work, and perhaps you either want to suggest a new course for them to take on, or, you know, maybe just reward them with a coupon, right? Just a discount on another product, another course, whatever you want, just another way for you to encourage continued learning and have them go ahead and continue with something else in your academy. Let's go over to the next layer. And I think, Brett, that is back on to you.
That is back onto me. So let's talk about how we can set up shared learning content based off and cater to our users' needs. Okay, so in this next scenario, we're going to be adapting learning content based off of our learners' needs. So when experts kind of discuss personalized learning content, they usually are referring to content that adapts to a learner's experience, learning style, and knowledge level. And this can be achieved using ebooks in LearnWorlds, which we can show specific sections or entire widgets to users who have been tagged within the system. So in this case, the first thing we're going to do is go into our marketing area. We are going to set up some customer feedback area. We're going to set up a qualification form. Again, so this is a form that George explained that appears the first time that user logs into your platform so that they can fill out specific information. We're going to edit those questions. We're going to add a couple different options in there based off of, you know, the answer of their question. And if you can see here, over here on the right, you're actually able to assign a tag based off of the answer that is supplied by the user. So if we were going to activate that qualification form, and let's say we ask them, you know, what specifically they are interested in. So like digital marketing, right? As an example. Let's say we have an ebook in our course. Now we could just throw as much stuff about marketing into that ebook as possible, and users could have to scale through that to find what exactly they want in terms of content. But no one wants to do that. It takes too long, and eventually I'm going to get bored and potentially leave the course, right? So what we can actually do is, by using visibility, again, like we did with our promotional coupon on the after login page, we can apply this to our ebook. So we can have sections within the ebook that will specifically show to users with certain interests based off of what they selected in that qualification form. So if I'm interested in digital marketing, I'm going to find a lot more material in this ebook on digital marketing. If I'm not interested in that, I'm not going to see these sections. So you can see, you can actually cater this material and change this material based off of what I'm interested in. I don't have to do a different course for every one of them. The next thing we're going to look at is how we can adapt content format to match different learning styles. Okay, so it's a similar scenario. We could assume that we know learning type, the learning type of a student based off of an assessment or an indicating, learning preference. Maybe he or she is a visual or an audio learner. So is it possible to kind of create two different sections in those ebooks? It is, and that's what we're going to look at now. So if we go back again into our qualification form, we take a look at that form that pops up as soon as they log in. Maybe we just simply ask the question, what type of learner are you? Are you audio? Are you visual? Do you prefer reading? Do you prefer movies? Right? So we can ask those questions. We can tag them based on their response. And then we can actually get, again, back into our ebooks. And in our ebooks, we can, again, use visibility to show specific types of content, like audio content or visual content, right? Based off of my learning ability. You could have an entire ebook change based off of how I learn using tagging and visibility. So you can see here, we've actually got it set up for visual, right? So we have an auditory example. They might be able to click and hear each of these, and we have one here set for visibility, or sorry, visual. In scenario 11, we're going to work on knowledge gaps. So we've said in the beginning, personalization can, happen based on a learner's real progress. So what about their performance, or what about, based on their preferences or their goals? So if we look at this, we can actually take the learning content using the assessment builder, the tags and user groups and automations, and we can set up ways for us to communicate with those that might not understand the answer to a question. So as an example here, we have a question here. What marketing field is most lucrative? We have social media, we have content marketing, marketing analytics, and all of the above. So again, we can set up our tags over here on the right. And based off of a wrong answer, right? Maybe the wrong answer here is marketing analytics. I'm not really sure who makes more money there, but and if that is the case, we can have the tag added with an automation or through that answer, and then use an automation that states when a tag is added, we're going to go ahead and send an email to that user. So, hey, we noticed that you made this selection on your test and it wasn't the correct answer. Do you need help in this area? Would you be interested in speaking with one of our representatives to understand this more? And so we have a nice catered message that will go out to them based off of an answer that they had in a test. Scenario number 12, offer bonus resources to reward your learners based off of, what they've enrolled in, right? So enrollment and completion of courses are strong indications that, a user is happy with that type of level of course. Sorry. So you can reward your learners by offering extra resources based on their preferences. So what do we mean by that? Well, if we look at user automations and we look at visibility and start kind of diving into this a little bit, you can see that when a user enrolls in a specific course, such as the Big Tech Guide, again, we can use that tagging power and we can add a tag about digital marketing. The next thing we look at is in our ebook, we have visibility about downloading digital marketing and starting out. So we actually have content prepared for them that they can download based off of just their general experience in the platform. So based off of the fact that they enrolled in a course on digital marketing, we can have promotional material show to them on specific pages to download ebooks, to download more information on that. So again, we continue to build off of what they're interested in. And lastly, scenario 13, we can adjust the learning content based off of self-reflection. So in our assessment builder, whether it's a self-assessment or an exam, we have an area for self-reflection. Okay, this is an area where our student might say, how do I feel? How confident do I feel in this specific material? So if we're looking at tags, we're looking at assessment builder here, the ebook builder, and visibility. Let's see how we can utilize that. So again, we have an assessment here. The student is letting us know how confident they feel in a specific subject, maybe after 2 or 3 lessons, right? And again, we have set up tags based off of how they've responded here. Now we can utilize that automations piece to look at the tag and say, well, if this tag has been added, then let's go ahead and add another tag that says skip the last 2 units. So what does that do? That lets us know that they may not be ready for the hard stuff, right? So we've added this extra tag here. They may not be ready for that advanced stuff. And we don't want to make them feel like they don't belong in this course because they're struggling with that material. That second tag that we've added, we can actually use the hide element of visibility. So now we've added a tag, and instead of showing a portion of the course, we're going to hide a portion of the course. So we know that they're not ready for that. The last 2 sections, we're actually going to block from them even seeing it. So they'll be able to get through most of the material here in the ebook, but they'll eventually get blocked and they won't see that last part. So they can kind of move through the material that they are familiar with.
Brett, we can say that the levels of flexibility are unbelievable.
Oh,
We
yeah.
are describing scenarios, and we could talk for a lot of hours about these scenarios. So what we are saying, the statement here is that we do have all the possibilities in the platform. The main issue here is to think what you need, to think and design how you want to adjust the content, the path, the learning path, or the navigation path to your specific audience. And again, we are seeing so many different examples, but in reality, someone has 2, 3, or 4 segments. It's not so complicated. So if you write down what exactly you want to happen to these 4 segments in terms of these 4 levels, then you can use all these features and start building paths and adaptations which can evolve based on how they work. Because no one says that when you are doing an adaptation that this will be a good adaptation or you are going to get better results. But it's not so complicated as is being presented right now. You just have to write down the segments. You just have to concentrate and define exactly the adaptations in these 4 levels for these segments. And then with all the tools that we are showing you here, you can develop all of these paths in Learnables in a matter of minutes.
And now let's go to the 4th level of adaptation, where we're talking about individual messaging, how we can talk to the right person at the right time and nudge them forward in their learning path. So,
Yeah.
Elisa?
So scenario number 4, motivate learners with push and email notifications after a period of inactivity. Now, when a learner is active, it's very easy to communicate, right? You can see them, they're active, they're engaging, but what happens when a user is inactive, that perhaps they haven't stepped foot into the course in days, or they've made little to no progress? So what can we do to reach out to those learners and motivate them to continue with the learning process? So let's go ahead in the next slide and see how we can take advantage of the automation tool and reach out to those people. So you'll see that there's a trigger you can set for inactivity. So when a user hasn't visited a course in the last X days, right? And you get to decide exactly which course and how many days. In our example, it's 7 days. Then you can set an action to set a specific email to that user, to those users. Perhaps, I don't know, maybe the course isn't very engaging, very interacting, right? So perhaps you want to add more information just to kind of lure them into going back there, or just start a conversation. You know, we noticed they have been inactive for X amount of days. Is this something that we can do to help you go through the information, or whatever you want to say? Just another way for you to essentially reach out to those learners that are in the edge of dropping out from the course, and kind of like save them and get them back on track. So there's one way to do that with the automations from here.
It's important to say, sorry, Elisa, for interrupting, but it's important to say that abandonment in online courses is the biggest problem that exists. So usually you may manage to get people in your landing page, probably visit the course for the first couple of minutes, but then they abandon. We are talking about tremendous percentages, like 80%, 90%, 70% or so. So it's very important to have these kind of automations at your disposal so as to have more opportunities to bring them back. But you don't want them to, to send just an email sequence which says, okay, let's send him after 7 days, what is happening? Are you happy with that? You are doing that based on his behavior. This is more of a product-led growth motion here, where if he visits the course, then I don't need to talk to him. But if he doesn't, then I need to talk to him. So that's a great add-on in bringing people and engaging people with your school.
And I think that from the user's point of view as well, it's a completely different experience. Just without this, you would be perhaps left feeling alone into the course. But with this, you know that there's actually somebody there monitoring the progress, reaching out to you, making sure that if you need something, they're going to be there to help you out. So it's not just a one-way thing for the instructors, but for the users as well. All right, okay, let's go ahead into the next scenario. So this time we're trying to, again, reach out to the user, but not based on their inactivity, but based on the progress that they have on a course. So let's go over to the next tab. Now, into the platform, there's ways for you to see how well people are doing into the course and even in percentage, right, their progress. So with the automations tool, again, you can specify if the user have reached a specific percentage on a course, right? If their progress is, let's say, 50% or 80% or 99%, right? So according to that, again, you can send a customized email notification. That could be to, maybe they are at 99%, just give them a little push so they can continue. Or again, if it's lacking, if it's somewhere in, 10% or something like that, just give them some words of encouragement so that they can continue on. Or if you have noticed that there is a pattern, maybe around 40%, people are kind of like slagging. You may want to see that perhaps there's an activity there that's causing this, right? So you can reach out to that user and say like, hey, we understand this activity may be a little challenging, but keep moving forward and you'll see that things are going to get much perhaps easier, right? Or whatever you are teaching. So just a great way to also reach out, not only based on an activity, but based on a specific percentage of progress into the course.
Elisa, sorry to add something here. These kind of notifications are also a requirement for many, many cases of continuing professional education. It's actually mandated by the certifying organizations that if you are to go through a compliance course or a mandatory course, there need to be certain messages at the 50% gray, 50% mark of the course, 75% mark of the course. So this is something that is probably required in some of your industries, but it's also an amazingly best practice for you to, in any case, to use something like that to nudge your courses to complete their courses. Back to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, let's take a look at the next scenario. Scenario 16 suggests next steps after the course completion, depending on their interest. We saw something similar earlier, but let's take a closer look at this. Into the next slide, please, if possible. All right, so of course, we can also do this with automation. So you can send an email when the course is completed. So the trigger is going to be when the course is completed. You can specify this and you can send an email to the user. Again, this is extremely useful because the user just completed a course, right? So this is an extremely important information. With that, you could either congratulate them about them, again, just acknowledge their work, or you can go ahead and just suggest the next course that perhaps is related to the one that they just completed, or just inform them about a new product related to what they completed, right? So whatever the case may be, when a user completes a course is a very important trigger, it's a very important event. So you can take advantage of that and just directly communicate to that user via email. And if we were to move to the next, and I believe that's the last scenario for tonight, you can welcome a new user upon the enrollment. Now, this, of course, you can do from the generic email notifications that we already have in place, but if you were to turn those off, and I highly suggest, then you can send out an even more custom email based on the course that they enrolled in. So if we can go over to the next slide, we can see that in more detail. So again, over here, we're making use of the automations tool. The trigger is when the user enrolls into the specific course, then we send a specific email. So not only a generic email whenever somebody enrolls into a course, but a specific customized email for that very course, just to welcome them into the course or into the academy if you only have one course, if it's the first course. And yeah, just a custom way to do that from the automations as well. And I think that wraps up layer 4 as well.
So here we presented, like Elisa and Brett expertly presented, the 4 layers or 4 dimensions of customizations. We're talking about the navigational layer, where people, before even starting to study, what do they see? Where do they guide them in order for them to make their choices? We're talking about the learning paths. We're talking about vertical personalization within the actual content, visual, auditory, textual, whatever else, and also the messaging at the right time, at the right level. But also more things are coming when it comes to personalization. We're talking about user groups, tremendous opportunity to segment your audience and show them the right thing at the right time, create all these different learning experiences. We're talking about mobile authoring, where we're not just getting a single white labeled application, but you can really add your own pages and make this a unique application to even accompany your students whenever they are out in the world and not just sitting in front of their desktop. So it's another level of being able to create a seamless learning experience on the mobile level at that moment. We're also talking about cloning and synchronizing courses, cloning online school and being able to really synchronize the content between the various schools. This is something that can really take the scalability of your content to the next level, allowing you to effortlessly create new schools and adapt your content to different audiences at an even higher degree. And mass emails, which means that finally you don't need an external provider, a third-party tool to communicate en masse with your students. From within your Learnable school, you can send updates, announcements, notifications about new schools, about offers. And again, you can combine all these based on the groups, based on the segments, based on the tags. So this is multi-dimensional opportunities of personalization and customization for whatever you do. And the great thing is that you set it up once, and then it continues working for the new signups, for the new users, as long as the school is operational. So we're talking here about a whole arsenal of tools that allow you to create personalized experiences in a massive and scalable way. And if we can go to the next slide, there's another little surprise, trick or treat. Actually, we have an offer running now at the end of the month, a 15% offer discount for the next 6 months for those that are in a hurry to set up their schools. Or their next school, or their next project, launch their next course ahead of the Black Friday and the holiday season and the shopping spree that will happen there. That's a little extra push to help make the platform more accessible. So there's not a better time to start experimenting with this platform and start getting all this arsenal, all this tool at your hands. So if you don't already have a Learnable school, just head over to learnables.com. You can start a free trial, no credit cards required, no strings attached. See what the platform can do for you. You will definitely get a recording tomorrow. So the scenarios that are special to you, interesting to you, the things that you could put to good use right away, you can really start using them. And along with our AI assistant, the content is also extremely easy to build. This is another discussion for another webinar, but we do have a special AI assistant waiting for you to help you prepare your content, prepare your curriculum, and really multiply your time to value, the time that you need to go to the speed and slash the time that you need to go to your next best course, to your next best launch. So go over to your trial, and you will find the offer waiting there. And we do, for the very large schools, for the schools that are the businesses that are operating at scale, and they need the extra assistant, the extra size, and the extra support from us. There's another offer in the next slide. We're talking about our scale package. This is an offer, and go over to the next to show a bit what's included in that scale package. This is where we're talking about an extra level of support with more users, with more user roles within your school, also with a discount for creating multiple schools along your next to your basic school, with a yearly checkup from us to make sure that your school is at the optimal condition, and with extra support from our customer success team. So this is something that can help you get your school to be in the best possible shape, so that you can handle loads and loads of users through your content.
Yeah, sorry, Panos, we're having another technical difficulty here. I had the slide up. I went to share it.
I think it's the Halloween spirits, probably.
It's gotta be, right?
this slide was a very effective. So we started losing slides. We had a few random users logging in as co-panelists. This has been quite an episodic webinar, but as always, you were amazing presenters, Elisa and Brett, and you, George, and we managed to show just a glimpse of what is possible with this level of customization. We know that we are just creating the appetite here. These are probably not things that you can apply immediately to all your situations. As George mentioned, you will probably need just a few of those, but start using them. These automations and these personalizations allow you to create a massive school like the biggest platforms, like the biggest educational organizations. You can have that at the fraction of the cost working for you today. So here, Brett is showing us the details of the scale package, add-on package. This is something that we launched. It's applicable to the biggest and most ambitious schools, I guess, but we are here to help you from starting to growing to scaling to becoming the best school in your segment, in your industry. We know how to do it. Our customers are very successful every day creating massive schools and using these features. And we are here to share the learnings from our customers and to show you how we adapt and how we anticipate the needs of our customers and how with these personalization options, we help them create amazing learning experiences, premium learning experiences that they can share with their audiences and their own students. So thanks again for being part of this presentation. Brett and Elisa, I'm not sure if we are forgetting something.
No, I think that's it. Panos, but one thing I did want to mention on the scale package, just because I've talked about it with a lot of customers now that, our learning center. One of the things that keeps coming up is now that we have the ability to create multiple schools for users when they're trying to create different schools for their customers or just for their general learners in general. One of the biggest pieces of this has actually been that 25% off of additional schools when they go to expand. So I just wanted to point that out. That's a huge part of this, along with the seat management, of course. That's another one I get a lot as well. But I did want to just make sure that we pointed that out. Along with this package, you do get the ability to expand at a much more manageable price when you are trying to build those multiple schools out.
It's great, Brett, that you mentioned that. We've shown here how with one school you can adapt to multiple audiences, because you can have your user groups, you can have your landing pages, your after login pages, but we are extremely happy to see customers of ours that are launching multiple schools to adapt to different customers, to different cases, to different audiences, different countries. So this is an amazing opportunity, the 25% off your additional school. We want to help you scale your educational business, and we want to be the tech stack, the e-learning tech stack, your tech provider for building your next best school. So join LearnWorlds, and we are here to support with all our expertise and an amazing team to help create amazing learning experiences for your audience. Thanks everyone for being part of this webinar.
Thank you,
See
guys.
you again in one of our future events. Bye-bye. Have a nice day.